Is the Shiloh Institute, and the real spiel. It's Del K. Brereton coming to you on a snowy Wednesday in Toronto, Canada. But God is good. Let me explain something to you. No need to go to university. Stop sending these kids to university to go get jobs. Let me tell you something. You want to be a multi-millionaire in 2 months? Even 1 month. The industry, the career path to job security and wealth unlimited is counter-terrorism. Adi Al-Katani, the Spice Man and the Spice of Life. To all my maniacs here on the Spiel, I appreciate you. To all the members, I appreciate you. To all people who've been hanging in with this channel, I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. Like I said, this channel is about information. It's not about volume. Yes, I could be a little more consistent, and I've said it so many times. But life does what life does, and I try to do what I try to do. So this is me talking to you about the real changing of the guard when it comes to truly world professions. And hello, Yvonne. Good to see you. World professions are about to take a drastic turn. Because, as everybody knows, the basic economics concept is supply and demand. And right now there's a great demand for counter-terrorist professional personnel, mercenaries. They're referred to as mercenaries. We've heard this term many times. Many of us who grew up watching various movies with Sylvester Stallone and Chuck Norris and other types of movies. We had James Bond. We've heard of these things. We've heard of these mercenaries, these counter-terrorists. And mercenaries are not new. Many world empires were maintained by mercenaries. Napoleon utilized mercenaries. The Romans utilized mercenaries. So mercenaries has been something that has been used from the beginning of war. And so let's talk about really quickly, what is a mercenary? A mercenary is a soldier for hire who you pay to come to your country and fight on behalf of your requirements. So let's understand what a mercenary is. They are essentially anywhere from actually people who are come to train your army, people who came to lead your army, or basically just paid assassins, people who are paid to kill people so that your particular country doesn't carry that bag, doesn't carry that blood on their hands. And so throughout the years, many of these organizations has popped up. And the one that has caught the attention of, I think it's CTV or CBC and the BBC, has been an organization called Spears. Peace and blessings to you, Michelle Clark. Spears is an organization that, some groups have tried to hold even accountable or call them up for war crimes. Because what Spears was American mercenaries. In this particular example I'm talking about, American soldiers hired, in this case I'm talking about, by the UAE, that's what they're doing now, to deal with Yemen. And so the United Arab Emirates, very popular for particular countries in there, like as many of you love to go to, right? Like Dubai. They are bordered by the Yemenites, and Yemen is a very interesting place in the world. It contains individuals. They refer to them as the Houthis, and they are essentially a military Islamic group financed by the allegation is that they're financed by Iran, and they are, essentially an extension of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Hezbollah, these types of organizations that have gotten the reputation for being terrorist organizations, and potentially backed by the Muslim Brotherhood, who America has never referred to as a terrorist organization, but is regarded by other nations as a terrorist organization. All right? I just report the news. These are not my private opinions in this particular case. This is what you hear, and this is what's being reported. So what takes place now is that a country like UAE, in respect to their personal security, they are saying, we need some help. We need to beef up our security presence, and our soldiers are not equipped to do it on their own. So what they do is they hire private mercenaries, and private mercenaries will come over and assassinate, kill, train, do whatever it takes for, and it's basically whoever the UAE says to kill, they kill. Simple as that. It's very basic. They are not there, and this is the part. This is the interesting part. This is not illegal. It's not illegal because these private mercenaries are not contradicting anything that America doesn't target as a problem. So first of all, they're killing people that America has no problem killing. They're working for American allies, and they are operating within the confines of war. So this is not happening during peace times. These countries are declaring that these organizations are either terrorist organizations, or they're literally declaring war on the countries itself, and in this case, Yemen. So they are essentially soldiers, able to do what soldiers are able to do, which is kill people. And these are professional soldiers. They kill well. And so you would think, okay, well, I mean, I've heard that before, but, what's the big deal? Let me tell you what you get paid to be a professional soldier with an organization like Spears. An organization like Spears will pay you, dun, da, da, da. Do you want to guess? Do you want to guess? How much you think you make? How about $1.5 million a month? Did you hear me? A month. That was in like 2018, 2020. That's not 2024. The going rate, I'm sure, is a lot higher. Now that you have this new incursion that's taking place with Israel, the new circumstances are happening now, that number is probably, north of $2 million a month, US dollars, USD, baby. Top of the line equipment, top of the line transportation. You're diving into an area that, of course, is not hospitable whatsoever, and you are coming there to do damage in a very short span of time. And guys are taking these gigs for, I'll call them gigs, but they're taking these things for maybe 3 years maximum, and they are paid killers for particular government groups, right? Again, allies of the US targeting either threats to worldwide terrorism or worldwide security, and referred to as terrorist organizations, or countries that are declaring war on other countries that are, again, either terrorist countries or countries that are not allies of the US. And so what these guys have to do is, of course, they have to do a lot of their own due diligence too, because they get a name, they get a face, and they're told, go kill this person. And they're not given background information. They are the intelligence. Understand how a soldier thinks. If you're a soldier, your intelligence organization or your government is giving you information, and you're following it out. Period. You're not asking why. So in the case of an American mercenary, his intelligence is who? The UAE government. They gave him a picture. Could be a woman, could be an 18-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy, doesn't matter. And they're saying, okay, we go and take this person out. No questions asked. especially when you're getting paid 1.5 million US dollars a month. There's no questions asked. You're training, you're coming there for that purpose. And remember, these people are already predisposed to hating the people they've come to kill anyway. So they're not empathetic to the fact that this person, or the potential that this person could be innocent of whatever they're being accused of. But what happens is, many times, they are killing innocent people. They are killing people who are just freedom fighters. They are killing people who are simply politicians. They are sometimes collateral damaging individuals. They are sometimes not killing the direct individual, but killing their son in order to keep them silent and saying, hey, be careful, we will kill another one of your children if you keep talking and acting up. I will post a video after this video of a very great documentary which speaks directly to individuals that work for an organization that was referred to as Spears, American mercenaries who were hired by the UAE government to essentially assassinate people in Yemen. And so this has now changed the landscape. I mean, you understand that, you know, a lot of times now, killings don't have to happen face to face. A lot of these kids are just playing video game kill, like they're sending drones or what have you to assassinate these individuals easily. They're setting up bombs that will go off. They'll trigger them later when that person goes home. Like, it's not a scenario where you're running out there. You know, you're not Rocky running out there with big muscles and an M16. You could be just a guy who walks up, sticks something under the door, you know, of some potential explosive, and as soon as that person comes home, you've got your eyes in the sky, and clickety click, boom, they're dead. That simple. But again, there's an absenteeism of this type of technology, of this type of application, of this knowledge of application, to the point that at this time there's an information vacuum where certain governments need other people to come in and to teach their guys how to do this. Or simply, there is no information vacuum. They just need somebody else's finger on the trigger other than theirs. And so this has become, to me, a marvelous evil that has reared its head, that I think we have to be extremely concerned about. And I'll tell you why. Not too long ago, it was said that ISIS was radicalizing Americans and white Americans, white British individuals. They were radicalizing these guys, and they were going over and they're, you know, working for ISIS and doing their thing. And, you know, of course, many of us were like, what would possess these guys to be, you know, radicalized into Islam and do this? You're thinking wrong. They're not radicalized. They're paid. They're paid mercenaries, and they're paid very well. And you think about it on a very domestic level. You are a young woman. You've been working these kind of administrative office jobs your whole life. You know, you're making $15,000, $18,000, $2,000 a month in North America, and you are told, hey, come work for me in Dubai, same position, I'll pay you $7,000 a month to do that job. $7,000 a month to live in Dubai, do the job that you're doing now, and, you know, we'll even take care of your housing. You're gone. You're gone. You're getting on a plane. You're telling your family, I'm moving to Dubai. Got a great opportunity there, and you're gone. Right? So now let's change that. Right? That's a young woman. Let's say you got this kid. He's 27 years old. He's been in the army. He's on the reserves in the army. He's been there. He's a crack shot. You know, he's in the army, and then he kicks around. He does some menial jobs, and one day somebody taps him on the shoulder. He gets a call. He gets a whatever communication of some kind. Says, "Listen, we need your skill set. You know, over here. You know, we're willing to pay you. We're willing to pay you. You know, $800,000 to come out here for 2 weeks just to train some guys for us." What? Yeah, we're gonna pay you $800,000. We'll send $100,000 into your bank account right now to show you that we're serious, and we'll pay you $700,000. We'll fly you out here. We just need you to train our guys. Our guys are, you know, we're in the military of such and such. Okay. These guys need to train you? Yeah, you just trained them. Just come out here. They're not very good. We just need you here for 2 weeks. $800,000. Yeah, $800,000. Will you do it? We'll send you we're going to put you, we'll fly you first class out here, private jet, whatever. You're gone. You're gone, bro. You don't care who you're training. You're gone. You're going to get over there. They're going to treat you nice. You're going to do your training, do your thing. You're going to fly back, and they're going to call you back. They'll say, hey, can you come out here and stay a little longer? We'll pay you $2 million if you stay out here for a couple months. And we just need you to run our guys through some stuff. And you know what? When you get there, they might have somebody say, listen, we have a situation. We've got to lead. There's a situation here. We want to know if you can lead the guys. We'll give you another $500,000 if you can just lead this thing. You're gone. So mercenaries are not just working for the good guys. Mercenaries are working for everybody, because warfare is a skill. It's a skill. They're skilled laborers, and weapons are more sophisticated. The technology is incredible, and just the capacity to decide that your job is to go and to take people's lives. That's one thing too. And if you have a knowledge base that other people do not have, you're gone. And this is what's happening. And it's extremely lucrative. Come on, if Saudi Arabia is hiring you, if the UAE is hiring you, you're gone. If Qatar is hiring you, you're gone. If a private organization that's not going to tell you we're Hezbollah, they're not going to say that, you know, they're not going to say that. Say, oh, we're the Palestinian government. We just want you to come over here and help train our soldiers. Okay, well, yeah, I'll come over there and train your soldiers. Palestinian government, yeah, okay, I'll come over there and train your soldiers. Before there was this big issue, and do you think now, Palestine, right? Do you think they have more support than they had before or less? Do you think if individuals organizing a Palestinian army, we'd like some training for the Palestinian army. Our Palestinian individuals are right now they're in Lebanon, right now they're wherever. You think you won't go over there? They're giving you $500,000 a day or something stupid like that to just stay over there and to train people. You're going. You're going. Because the difference is, as a Canadian, right? Let's say, and I'm telling you, a lot of Canadians are going to be over there. We don't have issues of what stamps are in our passport. We don't come back to Canada and people are worried about, oh, where'd you go? Oh, I was spending some time overseas. I was doing some training. I was working for this particular company. They're not asking, I went there on vacation. They're not asking any question. You come back to Canada, okay? You've got your money sitting wherever it's sitting. They're not asking you any questions. It's nothing for you to get on a plane, to fly over there and to come back. You're not coming back with any drugs. You're not coming back with guns. You're coming back with a duffel bag. You're meeting all your kit out there. You tell them, what do you want us to have for you? I want you to have this. I want you to have so many rounds. I want you to buy this. And they're shipping all that stuff from Iran or Russia, China, wherever else, and it'll be there waiting for you. Period. And you're coming back here with your same duffel bag, but millions of dollars in your offshore account or wherever you want it to be. And that's the new normal. That's the new normal for the world. Is that, and mercenary and these kids will be like, oh, I've got a video game conference over there, Mom. You got a video game conference? Yeah, I got a video game conference. And it's not a video game conference. You're teaching people how to kill people via the air with killer drones. Like, we have a brand new landscape that's taking place in this world right now, where things are becoming a lot less murky, where, again, when you can tell somebody, oh my gosh, again, when you can tell somebody something like a man and a woman, and those things are fluid, and sex is fluid, and right and wrong is not really right and wrong, and there's not sides anymore. It used to be, oh, if you're not pro-Israel, you're evil. If you're not pro-America, you're evil. And these lines are skewed. These lines are skewed. And foreign employment is foreign employment. And people are going to take advantage of it. They're going to have something on their visa, or they're going to have some kind of job offer that says, yeah, you're coming out here to work on technology, IT, whatever it is, but it's going to be, you're coming out here to teach our guys how to kill people, or to be a killer yourself. And I'm telling you, it's going to be one of the most biggest industries in the world, if it's not already. If it's not already. So the Canadian military, what is that going to turn into? It's going to become a training ground for the future mercenaries of the world. The U.S. is already that way. These guys leave the U.S. military and they form private international security organizations. And they make sure that hey, this is us. If you need us, we are here. We are career soldiers. And we will come to your country and fix up. Period. And they don't need the permission of the United States government to do it. They don't need anybody's permission. You're going to pay me $1.5 million a month. People are going to get on the plane, and especially if you're paying them $1.5 million a month to kill people that they were already killing, to hate people that they're already hated. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So we are in this world now with eyes wide open. Eyes wide open. The international intelligence community is going to become something fierce. And I'm telling you right now, if you think freedom of speech is going to continue, it's not. Because it's going to become very, very dangerous to talk. It's become very dangerous to talk. You think you're protected by your so-called charters of rights and your constitutional rights and your civil rights. You're not protected by that if a mercenary comes in here and says, I've been sent here to cut your damn head off and to carry it back to whoever. They're not going to be able to investigate that situation. Those guys came into town on a visitor's visa. They came in, they're having a great old time, and they're going to travel up the street, cut your doggone head off, take it back, incinerate your little body, and you're always going to know what happened to you. Because individuals are now professional at murder. They're professional at murder. The amount of things that have come full circle in this world is incredible, and they've gotten very good. They can kill you with a multitude of things. It could be poison, it could be anything else. But when it comes to straight up military warfare, come on, you've got too many organizations that can do it. You've got the Russian Wagner Group. You've got Spear. You've got independent individual contractors. You've got all kinds of individuals who are professionals at murder. And we are creating them. We are creating them right here. Don't look to these guys over there and say, oh, they're creating terrorists. No, think about this. I want you to reverse this. Long time, Kamala. I want you to reverse this. Ty Richardson, I hear you. I want you to reverse this thought. Clearly, America and Israel lead the charge in warfare technology. Clearly, right? Clearly, I can't even include Russia because you can't even hold off Ukraine, right? Now imagine now you've got America and you've got Israel, America in the Middle East, basically Israel, and they're dealing with you. You're another nation, and they're dealing with you over there, and you're like, damn, these guys are good. Like these guys are killing us easily. What we need help. We need to develop ourselves, right? Because these guys come over here and they just take us out like nothing, and then they go back before you know it, they're gone and no sign of them. We need to be better. And so what happens? They start developing serious military scenarios over there. Now, what are they called now? Oh, there's a terrorist group. Terrorism is rising in the Middle East. They're not terrorists. They're guys who are like, yo, the U.S. came over here and killed us like nothing. We got to get better at this. So we're going to practice the same way you guys are practicing. And of course, from our perspective in the West, they're the terrorists, right? But we have the capacity. How many governments has the U.S. toppled over? Come on. How many governments in Syria, in Vietnam, right? They were trying to do it in Korea, right? The whole Korean War was about making sure that South Korea was not continually affected by the Northern Korea's radicalism, so-called, of communism, right? The whole concept of Afghanistan was to make sure that the Russians did not have another foothold in another area. All of these things that are done is to stop some type of ideological positioning. And if you walk in there, America, Canada, the West, Britain, right, NATO, and you start killing people, knocking off leaders, whether it's in Africa or anywhere else, people are going to say, hey, we can't let that happen. We've got to develop ourselves to keep these guys off of us. So I don't see international terrorists always now as individuals who are pro-actionary. I see them as reactionary. Got to be pretty listen, if you're America's enemy right now or Israel's enemy right now, you're telling me you're not going to beef up your security? You're not going to beef up your military? You're not going to beef up getting some guys who are super good at killing people? Some Navy SEALs and some guys like that, some secret guys who are good? Of course you are. Absolutely. You're going to get special forces guys, and guess what? Who's going to train them? Who's going to train those guys? Ex-special forces from America, ex-special forces from Britain, ex-special forces from Russia, guys who knew it already, guys who did it already. They're the ones training the terrorists. Oh, Del, how could you say something like that? Because they've already done it. Who do you think the Taliban were trained by? The Taliban were trained by America to stop the Afghanis. So America went in there and trained the Taliban to be the Taliban. So now that you've trained the Taliban to be counter-terrorism, so-called special forces, mercenaries or soldiers, and they have that skill set, that's a skill set that can travel. Bro, I know how to do that. I know how to blow those things up. You do? Yeah, come over here and teach us. That's a serious skill set. Can you create a bomb? I don't know how. But some guys out here know how to create those kind of things. And now it's not even about creating those kind of things. It's those things are rolling off the shelves everywhere. It's about now how to make it smaller, how to make it non-traceable, how to put it inside of a drone, and how to create drones that travel, faster and more under the come on. This stuff is different. The amount of money they spend on war every year, we are the greatest generation. We are the greatest warfaring generation of all time. All time. Nicaragua, of course. They trained them too, right? Oliver, what was his name? Oliver North, right? The Contras. They trained all of these guys under the fear of communism. America was trying to kill communists everywhere. Oh my gosh, they might be communists. Let's go in there and lift up a counter organization to them. They destroyed countries doing this. Saddam Hussein. Who do you think put Saddam Hussein in power? Who put Saddam Hussein in power? America did. Bush Sr. put him in there. He was the one who was supposed to control Oliver North under Bush. No, Oliver North was under Reagan, I believe. I might be mistaken, but I believe Oliver North was under Ronald Reagan. But Saddam Hussein was put in place by Bush Sr. And Bush Sr. put him there to make sure that all those Bush oil wells, yeah, you know that the Bushes owned oil wells in Iraq? Absolutely. Saddam Hussein was watching over their interests. The Shah of Iran was watching over the interests of America. That's why they didn't want him there. That's why they didn't want him there. Like, this guy is basically working for America. And of course, counterintelligence, counterterrorism came in, and all of the Ayatollah people, who would put a crazy person like the Ayatollah? You think Iranians are crazy? Do you think they'd rather be under the Shah? Or, of course they want to be. They were free. They had no issue. America walks in there and says, hey, Shah is cooperating. I mean, Russia walks in there and says, hey, this is too much. We need to get these guys out of here. So there is a lot of things going on, man, behind the scenes that we don't know. Iran is a very interesting place. The politics of Iran, the switch up and the shifting of politics in Iran, very interesting. It's a study all on its own. Yeah, I believe. Peace to you, Avery. I believe it was Reagan, Ronald Reagan, the Reagan era. And forgive me for this, but in hindsight, the Cold War of the 80s was absolutely a military strategic genius move. And I'll tell you why. Because when you have a scenario where you have one side who is building so much military might that they have enough knowledge and firepower to totally obliterate the other side, they're going to use it. And we're seeing this in Israel, right? You can't talk ceasefire when we don't need to ceasefire, bro. We're killing y'all. We're killing everybody. You guys can't stop us. Ceasefire. There's no ceasefire coming. But when both sides are leveling blows to each other, when they're landing, slugging punches to each other, people are quicker to say, hey, we got to stop this. We got to stop this. We're going to blow each other up. We got to be at peace. But when one side can basically annihilate you, no peace is coming. And the individuals who are working the both sides of the counterterrorism and the spy organizations and double agents and all these things that were happening during the Cold War, they understood that. They understood that, listen, you can't let Washington or the Kremlin dictate international policy. The guy who's sitting in that chair will do whatever he tells you to do. Will do whatever he feels like. We've got to be smarter than him, because these idiots will create a world war. So if we find out that so-and-so has developed a doomsday machine, guess what? We better give that same doomsday machine to the other side, or that idiot with the doomsday machine, he'll blow up the world. And they were right. They were 100% right. So people were neck and neck with technology. Oh, you came up with it? No problem. I'm going to send that to the other side. And wise. I'm going to make sure the other side has that. We know what's going to happen. Genocide. Israel and Gaza are the prime example why you need to have concepts where you have an equilibrium of power in any region. Genocide will take place because people are stupid and they don't care. They are xenophobic. You are not like us. You are not one of us. You are the enemy. You are human. What do they call? You are human animals and all these kind of things, and we will destroy you. It's not a joke. And so now, there's going to be a rise of military-minded young men in the world who understand that, are you telling me all I've got to do is go to one of these Middle Eastern countries and work for a month and they're going to pay me $2-3 million? Yep. Well, hell, I can do that. What do I got to do? Well, join the Canadian military out of high school and go in there and learn your trade right away. First of all, I joined the Canadian military. I'm not going to war. I'm going to be a peacekeeper somewhere, but I'm going to get trained. I'm going to get all the training. I'm going to take everything. I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to learn every weapon. I'm going to learn everything. And you will become an expert in warfare. And the one thing that we know that this world will never stop having is wars. Never. As long as there's men, there shall be war. There shall be war. So you guys think about it. You think about it. And as much as, like, and this, let me just give you another side of my brain. And the poppy fields are owned by the Bushes. Yeah, they are too. The poppy fields are owned by the Bushes too. Afghanistan, the #1 exporter of hashish in the world. So what were they over there fighting for? What were they really over there fighting for? Afghanistan, the #1 exporter of hashish in the world. Really, what were they over there fighting for? Huh? Think about it. You owe me money. Who's this? Josh, he travels. If I owe you money, you ain't getting it. I don't know if that was a reference to something I'd already said. But this is how I think about it now, right? Okay, in Canada right now, just to give you some examples, the Prime Minister has outlawed the possession of handguns. So, unless you have an old license like me, you can't own a handgun, you can't sell a handgun, you can't buy a handgun. You cannot inherit a handgun. All right? Can't at all. So, what does that mean for the next generation of Canadians? You're walking around with shotguns, rifles, but anything new, technology-wise, in the handgun, you're not going to have it unless this next government comes in here and changes it. So you're already behind the technology 8-ball. So that means that you essentially cannot defend yourself on an equal level from an individual who can come out of this country, come from out of the country, bad guy, who's got better technology than you. And if you want that, you've got to smuggle it in here. Right? I'm just using Canada as an example. So you go now a generation, and the bad guys are better equipped than the good guys. The police, the army, they're okay. But the regular Canadian citizen who has the right to bear arms too, but not all arms. You can only bear shotguns, long guns now. You can't own handguns, and you can't own prohibited weapons, which are weapons that are only for the police. And you cannot own you can own restricted weapons, but the restricted ones have been taken away. So now you can't own restricted weapons, which are handguns, and you cannot own prohibited weapons, which are for the military. So imagine where the human population is going to be, where the regular population is going to be. The regular population is going to be relatively, compared to other places, unarmed. So now we go to a place like Israel, right? And in Israel, every single 17, 18-year-old boy or girl, they got to go in the army. They got to learn to use weapons of mass destruction. They got to learn to use handguns. They got to use long guns. They got to learn everything. And now after that generation, right, that's been trained in the army, let's compare those two nations. You've got one nation, they're not even allowed to hold or look at a handgun. They're not going into the army by force. They got a very small army. And then you got another nation that every single boy and girl who's a citizen of that nation is a trained military fighter on new technology. They know what to do. They know how to use it. Which population is safer? And this is debatable, right? But which population is safer from an invasion? The population that are basically raising people like sheep. They can't even hold a doggone handgun. They're not going to the army. Their army is not even going to war. Or the population that's saying, you know what, every single boy and girl, we're going to train you how to protect yourself, protect your nation. And then I'm going to add this one last piece. I'm going to let you guys go. Let's add African people, black people, who are deathly afraid, for the most part. There's a new generation of brothers and sisters. But let's talk about law-abiding, God-fearing black people are deathly afraid of weapons. Which travel places you like? Dubai versus Italy versus Turkey? Italy. I want Italy, 100%. But black people are deathly afraid of weapons. And this again is something that was created post-slavery, a mindset that black people essentially should be afraid of the same weapons that are used against them, that you shouldn't have one, you shouldn't own one, you know, if you got one of those, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And essentially peaceful black God-fearing people are afraid to own a weapon of protection. And so now, not only do you have, unless again using Canada specifically, you have a very conservative, a very weapon adverse, a very untrained, a very under-equipped generation of people, of which black people specifically are very, very, very adverse to any level of weapons to defend themselves. And still, just to bring it into my kitchen for a little while, still you're an endangered species everywhere. You're an endangered species everywhere. And so counterterrorism for you is probably something that you should be thinking of probably more than anybody else. I mean, you can't tell me that black people in Mississippi in the 60s, the 50s and 60s, shouldn't have been having mindsets of counterterrorism. They're burning crosses and dragging black folks out to be lynched. You can't tell me that you shouldn't have been assembling yourself as a counterterrorism force. You can't tell me that you shouldn't be putting together individuals that were ready, militias that were ready to defend your community. You can't tell me you shouldn't have been doing that. You can't. You know, Martin, wonderful, but unfortunately, I prefer to defend myself than to allow people to simply have mercy upon me after you've beaten me and hung me. Personally, I do not prescribe to a scenario of non-violence when I am being actively attacked. I don't prescribe to that. I don't prescribe to that at all. I don't think any rational person should prescribe to that. It's not a rational thought. They're attacking me with weapons. I should do nothing. They're beating me. They're sicking dogs on me. I should do nothing. We will sit and wait for the empathy of their hearts to stop them from murdering us. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I can't put my children in a position where they could just be brutalized simply and raped and murdered and stomped. And I have to wait on individuals who hate me to have mercy. I'm sorry, we're not doing that. And so we have some things to think about. Some serious things to think about. I don't agree with black people joining colonizer military groups. I would never want my children to join the Canadian Armed Forces, because the agenda of the Canadian Armed Forces is not mine. If I felt there was a need for the Canadian Armed Forces to go to Nigeria or to go to Ghana to defend a certain circumstance, or maybe when those blacks were being held as slaves in Syria, Canada never sent peacekeepers and said, hey, let those people go. So now, if I put myself or put my children or my grandchildren in an army, in the Canadian Army, that army doesn't see me or see my background or see my agenda as something it needs to act upon. So therefore, there's no need for me to join that army. There's no need for my descendants to join that army. Protecting Canada is not protecting me necessarily. Protecting Canada, and a Canada that allows me to benefit and to prosper and to excel the same way as everybody else, that Canada I want to protect. But a Canada that doesn't care whether I'm here or there, there's no need for me to protect that. And I'll say it the same way maybe Muhammad Ali did. Muhammad Ali did not want to go to war for America because he felt that the enemies of America were not his enemies. And that's how I feel today. The enemies of Canada are not my enemies. And so, but I do believe, personally, that every black man, every black boy and girl should be knowledgeable of the skill set of war. Absolutely, you should be a knowledgeable soldier. You should be knowledgeable. You should have specific knowledge on the cutting edge technology of modern warfare. Absolutely. Because if you don't, how can you ever expect yourself to be anything but a serf? You know what a serf is? Anything but a peasant in the community you serve. How can you be a true leader? How can you say one day, you'll rise up and be a leader of this nation, and you don't have an understanding of how this nation can be protected? So, I truly believe that. And so what is probably going to take place in the near future is a lot of young men, a lot of young black men, they're going to do their term. They're going to learn some stuff. They're going to go join the reserves. They're going to jump into the military. They're going to learn some things, and pop out, and then become soldiers for hire. It's going to happen. It's going to happen all over the place. Because if you look at history, and you go down the line of the great generals, Hannibal, black general who defeated Rome on elephant back. If you go down the line of North American historical military, you go to the Red Tails, the best fighter pilots in the world were black men. So these things are not things that we cannot do and not going to do at a high level. The question is now, who are we going to do it for? And how are we going to benefit from it? Because how are you going to tell your little black boys and little black girls? They're going to hire you over there in the UAE and pay you $1.5 million. I don't want you to take it. I don't want you to take it, Johnny. Well, mommy, I just was in the reserves and they didn't pay me nowhere near that. I was in the American military and they hung all this stuff on my chest and they called me a hero and they didn't give me nowhere near that. So why in the heck, if you're going to join the army, wouldn't you go over there and fight for somebody who's going to pay you $2 million a month? It's going to happen. It might not happen with us first, because it never happens with us first, but it's going to eventually happen, and you're going to be better at it than everybody. So that's my time. This is the Real Spiel. It's Del K. Brereton. It's a new frontier, and I'm not a warmonger. The war has been brought to me. I just want to get good at it. I'm not a warmonger. I'm an individual that realizes, well, you shouldn't be traveling that fast, bro. This man trying to overtake and people are slowing, people are driving easily going home. I'm not a warmonger. I'm a man who realizes that if you bring it to me, my goodness, I want to be able to give it back to you. The reason I got taught all these martial arts as a young man, because I didn't want to ever have a scenario where a brother could come to me and I couldn't give it back. The reason at my age I still lift things that people can't believe I can lift is because I'm still defensive minded. Right now, this very second, this very moment, I'm still under enemy fire. I'm still looking at people kneeling on brothers that look like my neck, like me, their neck. I'm still looking at people who are killing kids who look like me, Trayvon Martin, and they walking away scot-free. I'm still dealing with police officers and old men who look at our children and fire. Don't even think. Fire. Bam, 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 bam. Still like that. So you can't tell me not to be protective minded. I'm not gonna let somebody who I know wants to kill me just because he's wearing a badge and has a uniform on. I'm not gonna let him kill me and say, sir, please, I'm really one of those good Negroes. No, I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm gonna let him know. He came to kill me. So you're on judge. He came to kill me, and I wasn't about to be on a milk carton. You weren't about to have a march for me. You can go march for him though. How many years? I'll do 7 or 8 years, no problem. I'm alive. Hey, no, sir, I'm a different guy. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You're not gonna have a bunch of, he was such a great guy. He had this great show and he had such great ideas. No. Talk that about him. He's the second that I see this nervous cracker pulling his stuff for me. He's finished. I want a vehicle that is bulletproof so I can sit in the car and he can shoot the windows out if he wants to. I want to be in a position where I have expert understanding, expert knowledge, expert technology that allows me to defend myself and my family and my home. And if the right individual says, hey, Brereton, you know what? You want to take all those years of paramilitary training and all those years of martial art training and all those years of weapon training and come over here and teach us for $1.5 million? I ain't gonna say anymore. God bless you. This is Del K. Brereton, and this is The Real Spiel, the Shiloh Institute. Stand up. Listen, this is a time to think different because the world's different. I'll talk to you soon.